All right, go ahead and roll for perception.
I got a 13.
Hey, that's pretty good. With that, you can tell there's some fantasy situations going on. You hear some adult language, and with that, you can tell this podcast probably isn't for kids.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Dungeoncast. I'm Will.
I am Brian.
This is the podcast where we talk about everything Dungeons and Dragons, from big berserkers to bad banshees. And today, we're talking about Bullywugs.
Prepare yourselves. I cast Fireball. The Dungeoncast.
All right, Internet. So, I put out a poll and you voted, and today we're talking about Bullywugs. Not my first choice, but hey, let's talk about it.
It was your first choice. Welcome, the internet. Welcome to our podcast.
Yeah. And if there's those of you out there who are like, oh, Bullywugs, they suck. Number one, you're wrong. They don't suck. But number two, if you want to have a voice in what we do, you should follow us on Twitter, because that's where I put up polls and you can vote on what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
So.
I'm excited to talk about Bullywugs, though.
Yeah, Bullywugs are cool. They're different.
They're like little frog people.
They're frog people. They vary in size pretty widely. Although in the 5th edition Monster Manual, there's really only one, and it's kind of weak. It's like 1/4 challenge rating or something like that. But in previous editions, and I'm sure in the future, we'll have like a variety of Bullywugs. They can range anywhere from like 5 feet tall to like 6.5 feet tall and huge burly guys.
So considered like this is a classified humanoid?
I think they are, but they're like bipedal amphibious frogmen.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
They're definitely more frog than man, without a doubt. I like Bullywugs because number one, they're not used as often as the other mobs of this game. Like, so when I say mobs, you know what a mob is, right? It's like
a lot of something.
Like a lot of something, yeah.
And
Bullywugs,
if you're small, like safety in numbers, right?
Exactly. And so like you got all these mob monsters like gnolls and goblins and orcs and the undead a lot of times could be considered mobs. I like Bullywugs because they're a little different from other mobs. They're not quite as violent. They're not quite as like classified evil. I mean, they are classified evil. They're not nasty little
particularly violent.
They're mean, without a doubt. They're nasty little creatures, but they're not like they're
bloodthirsty.
A little less. They're not bloodthirsty, and they're a little less likely to kill you when they find you. But we'll talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
So, like we said, they're frog-toe people. Their size varies. They live almost exclusively in swamps, but also can live in like really damp forests or like rainforests, like jungle.
Okay. Okay.
Wetlands.
I can kind of see like a flavor mix up there. With like, if they're frogs and you have like a rainforest atmosphere, you can go with a more tropical theme.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rather than like a toad, like warty,
True.
like
exactly
mud swampy thing.
Exactly, that's
okay.
Cool. And I like that idea of reflavoring Bullywugs to look kind of like a tree frog.
Yeah, exactly.
Those
like
cool.
Like because you could have a bright coloring at that point.
Absolutely.
Like a multiple color palette, as opposed to like the thing that initially came to mind for me was like a dark, like a witch's toad kind of deal.
They definitely, traditionally, they're more toad-like than frog-like.
Green or brown and lumpy.
Green or brown, lumpy. I mean, a big part of one of their mechanics is like they're really good at stealthing in swamp areas. They can camouflage.
Well, hell yeah. Is that like the ranger, how they have like a terrain, like a preferred terrain or whatever it's called?
Not exactly. It's just specified like they can kind of change the color of their skin to meld with swampy terrain. Yeah. And they get something like advantage on stealth in swamp areas or whatever.
Okay.
And I would just extend that to whatever their home terrain is. If it is like a bright green jungle, then yeah, they got it there instead.
Cool.
And what's cool is kind of like, okay, so when it comes to mobs, they kind of come in different like power levels, if you will. And like level 1 mobs are going to be your Bullywugs, your goblins, and your kobolds. And I kind of like that Bullywugs fill a certain niche when it comes. There's like this trifecta, if you will, when it comes to the 3 of these. Like, if you send your level 1 players to a forest, they're going to meet goblins. Into caves, it's going to be kobolds. If you send them into like a swamp or jungle, it's going to be Bullywugs.
Gotcha. Okay. That's like your standard, like this
standard
is the early
level
levels.
1 or 2 kind of mob monstrosities.
Something to beat up on.
Exactly. And the next level up would be like lizard folk and orcs and maybe hobgoblins and stuff like that.
Orcs are mobbish in nature too, right?
Yeah,
There's
without
always
a doubt.
like
Without a doubt.
hordes of orcs coming at you.
Exactly. Yeah. Orcs are all about the horde.
Gotcha.
So Bullywugs, they are intelligent, but not very intelligent. They have a really bad reputation of being stupid.
Okay.
They're also very wasteful. They're gluttonous. They're generally unclean. They are
Clothed?
Not sometimes, but usually not. Usually they're nude.
If anything, it's like a little like robe or jacket or something like that.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, so bullywugs have a weird mentality. And one of the things is they like the finer things in life, but they are completely incapable of taking care of them in any way, shape, or form. So a lot of times, like,
Can't maintain their stuff.
Let's say you get caught up in a swamp and ambushed by bullywugs. The reason that they're not going to kill you outright is because they're going to take you before their bullywug king, and like they're going to lord over you and demand like tribute for passing through their lands, and they want like baubles and fine clothes and stuff like that because they fancy themselves little kings.
Okay.
The thing is, like, and they'll take these things if you have them, and then they'll let you pass through or whatever, and they'll wear them. They'll wear these fine clothes, but then they'll just let them get dirty and tattered and whatnot.
Immediately
like,
go into the swamp water.
They have zero concept for like taking care of their shit.
That would suck. You're a player. You get captured. You get put before the king. You give up your finest tunics.
Yeah.
And some bullywugs put them on, and they immediately just jump into the swamp water.
Yeah. And
Like,
that's something they probably would do.
Man,
exactly.
you fucking ruined my.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And like, they're so bad at like taking care of anything that they're known for completely devastating their own environment before moving on. Like, they come in, they overfish, they muck up the environment. They're really gross and filthy, and then once it becomes unlivable, they move on.
Oh, so they're just
deal.
like general pieces of crap.
Yeah, they suck. Bullywugs are little sucky little assholes.
Like just like how you mentioned the kobolds and goblins. Are those also like, I know goblins are little pieces of shit.
Goblins can definitely be little pieces of shit. So can kobolds. I don't know. You definitely see more player characters that want to be a goblin or a kobold, and they kind of like meld in with normal society. I think that's because goblins and kobolds are clever. They're not necessarily intelligent, but they totally can be. Well, bullywugs are kind of just dumb. Like, they're not.
Yeah, they want these
Like,
fine clothes and jewels and stuff,
Yeah.
and they're just gonna trash them.
Right. Their intelligence is usually somewhere between like a 7 to a 10.
Ooh,
10 on the high. Yeah. So they're just kind of stupid.
God, if you're below like a 10 intelligence, it's pretty dumb.
Yeah, you're pretty dumb. You're below average without a doubt. If you got a 7, yeah, you're really, really dumb. But moving on. So we
So
talked.
like a rock would have like a 0, right?
Yeah, rock can't think.
So like
Brian. So yes,
a
it's
sentient
0.
rock would have like a 1.
Maybe, yeah, probably. I think. Well, like look at oozes; they have a 0 intelligence.
Okay, they're just like these mindless, like I just ooze about.
Yeah, I just ooze about. Yeah, they don't think. There is no thought. So let's talk a little bit about like bullywugs consider themselves the de facto ruler of all swamps. They consider themselves the king of the swamps, and because of this, they hate trespassers.
Every swamp is mine.
Yeah, every swamp is mine. And they are the sworn enemy of lizard folk, which are which are the much fucking cooler swamp monsters, if you ask me. Lizard folk are super cool.
So they're vying for territory then.
Yes, with lizard folk. And I would argue that lizard folk probably stomp the fuck out of bullywugs, but
Well, generally they seem like much like hardier creatures.
yeah, lizard folk are hardier, and they're better organized, and they are capable of actually crafting stuff. Like they can be basket weavers and stuff like that.
To be fair, I have a lot more experience with lizard folk than bullywugs just because they were like rampant through your game.
Yeah,
But,
because lizard folk are cool.
yeah.
But that's just my opinion. So they have this weird society, bullywugs. Not only do they fancy themselves as kings, but they got this weird like aristocracy, like pseudo
Yeah, they have
parody of aristocracy amongst
You said
themselves.
they bring travelers to their king, but they think of themselves as kings.
Well, okay, so it is a lot about dominance. So like they think of themselves as the de facto ruler of swamps, but like they'll have one ruler who's kind of like more powerful than all of them and lords over all of them.
He's like
and
he's like a big fat bullywug that sits on like a platform.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's usually exactly what it's going to be, something along those lines. And like the thing is, they all kind of fall into this weird society where like he's the ruler now, so like they grovel and they bring him tribute because they want to gain favor with him.
Right.
And they play this game of toads, if you will.
A game of toads.
Yeah. So it's just really weird, and like they're really arrogant and full of themselves. And one of the idiosyncrasies about them is like they like to give themselves really grand sounding titles because it makes them feel powerful.
Oh, like this elaborate, like I'm the lord of the
I'm like
fucking swamp
Lord
or whatever.
High Toad
Yeah,
Muglug,
there it
King
is.
of the Seven Bogs and Master of Muglugville. You know, like it'll be like that. So like you'll get brought before this big fat grotesque looking toad man and be given this long list of titles of how awesome he is and be demanded to give tribute. That's kind
Right.
of their deal.
Okay.
So when they're not as gracious as kidnapping you and demanding tribute, and they do decide to be the aggressors, they can be kind of deadly, especially for low-level characters. They're capable of that super stealth I was talking about.
Right.
Not only that,
Sneaky snakes.
yes.
Sneaky frogs.
Sneaky frogs, whatever. There's not a stealth word that starts with F that's coming to mind. So anyways, tricky toads.
Tricky
Does that work?
toads?
No, that doesn't work.
No,
All right,
that's a
moving
little-
on. So one of the things that also adds to their ability to stealth around undetected is Bullywugs have their own language, which is basically a series of like croaks and stuff that sounds like frogs.
Bullywuggish.
But yeah, sure. We'll call it Bullywuggies.
Bullywuggies.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And not only do they have this, but they can literally communicate with actual toads and frogs.
Got it.
But because of that, like they can super stealth into this swamp area and then communicate with each other with croaks that unless you're like a ranger that specializes in swamp terrain, you're probably going to not detect. Next thing you know, you're being ambushed by naked bullywugs.
Yeah, you just think these are like frogs. Like,
yeah.
Just
Exactly.
regular animals.
And like I think they're capable of like doing these croaks in such a way where the sound carries, so they can communicate across long distances.
Ooh.
Like, so that's a pretty cool thing. Like
So their stealth is like off the chain.
yeah, you don't want to meet the bullywugs on their homeland. Yeah. So,
Got it.
Yeah, but I think this is a way to make bullywug encounters more interesting and less like, oh, here's a bunch of frogmen.
Yeah, like you don't just like stumble across them. They know you're coming most likely, and the whole squad is alerted to your presence.
Right.
That's pretty dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. But more often than not, they're not the immediate aggressor unless they find themselves in a position of power.
If they see something shiny on you.
Well, yeah, or that too. And the thing is, power is kind of important to them because they're really simple creatures, and like you can so like a kingdom with bullywug infestation in a swamp can kind of work out a sort of peace treaty with the bullywugs if they so choose to. It can be difficult to maintain because you're constantly having to show that you're more powerful and superior, so that they have to grovel before you and like because they don't understand anything else. So if you're not constantly doing that, they're constantly going to rebel. Most often kingdoms just wipe them out because they're like, fuck these guys. They're not worth the bother.
We have a bullywug infestation. Send the troops.
Yeah, but you can definitely have a sort of
Send all the
parlay with them.
evocation wizards. Burn it down.
Yeah, burn it down. Burn down the swamp.
We're eating frog legs tonight, gents.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah,
I am
and here's
King
another thing.
Bullywug,
They often
Lord of the juice.
Yeah.
And then you burn him and you eat his legs.
There you go. So bullywugs don't like to work with other races if they can help it, but that power thing can kind of make it happen. And sometimes bullywugs will team up with like big bads, like a black dragon. Black dragons love to live in swamps, and they might decide to overpower
Serve
the
that
bullywugs
dragon.
very easily and enslave the bullywugs, and the bullywugs will fall into line because of the nature of like, well, this thing's more powerful than us.
That's a lot like goblins, how they're like
goblins, yeah.
they appreciate the hierarchy. They just obey it.
Yeah, I mean, because you have to when you're that small and there's nothing you can do. And bullywugs, though larger than goblins or kobolds, still kind of fit into that category.
Yeah, all of the
like,
bullywugs
small
probably couldn't take on the weakest dragon.
Yeah. So my throat's a little parched, man. And
That sounds like we should take a rest.
Yeah, walking through the swamp has me tired.
Gross.
Let's take a short rest.
Let's do it. Not near bullywugs.
No.
Hey everybody, welcome to the part of the episode where we stop talking about that last thing. We're done with that for now. Let's talk about this new thing. This new thing is you. Thank you guys. Thanks for listening to the show, and thanks for tuning in, and thanks for making it here. We appreciate you greatly here on the Dungeoncast. Isn't that right, Will?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. You guys are great.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. And yeah, thanks for sharing the show. Thanks for listening. Thanks for enjoying it. And we really do enjoy the feedback. I try and read every tweet, every comment, every review. And yeah, we really appreciate it. So thank you guys.
I get to most of them too. I just I'm making the show.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm trying
Brian's our tech guy for the show.
I'm the absorber. Sorry everybody for my my sick boy voice, because I'm a sick boy.
Right.
So please bear with me. Apologies. I'll be better tomorrow, but we're recording today. So
Yeah, we have to record today. So for those of you who don't know, we have an ongoing awesome contest where we are giving away 2 copies of Xanathor's Guide to Everything, which is an amazing book that's going to have a boatload of stuff when it comes to like different class archetypes and stuff like that. It's essentially, from my understanding, going to be a player's handbook 2.
Welcome to the Player's
without
Handbook
the name.
2. Yes,
Yeah.
it's going to be pretty sweet. But definitely essential for your D&D lore.
Yeah.
And your mechanical, this and that, whatever have yous.
Yeah, I definitely think it's essential. More essential than even Volo's Guide, which is pretty essential as a dungeon master to buy.
Yeah, because all that Unearthed Arcana stuff they've been playing around with is finally getting solidified in this book.
Yeah, a lot of it is. A lot of it is. So if you want to enter this contest to win, there's actually 2 ways to enter. And
Count them, ladies and gentlemen,
twice.
2.
Yeah, you can enter twice. The number 1 way is to share the show via Twitter with the hashtag Dungeoncast. Just link an episode of our show. It can be on any platform or medium that you choose, YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, whatever, any episode or playlist that you choose. Just hashtag Dungeoncast so I can see that you share the show and add you to the list. The second way that you can enter is if you go ahead and leave us an iTunes review or a review on any podcast platform that you can. And leave us a 5-star review and talk about what you liked about the show. That's a second entry, so you'll have 2 times the chance to win.
Cool, that's really sweet.
Yeah.
So get on that. How long are we running this contest for?
Till the book drops. I think it's on the 21st of November. So
Cool.
on the day that the book drops, we'll announce the winners.
Nice. So yeah, definitely get in on that. Don't miss your chance. And if you just want to tweet about the show in general, that would really help us out a lot. Or if you just want to get in there and review the show on one of these podcast apps Will was talking about, particularly iTunes, that really helps the show out. And we couldn't be more grateful for everybody that's gone out and done that already. You can find us on soundcloud.com/thedungeoncast. You can search for us on YouTube if you want to see our face. We are there. And we are showing ourselves. But that's really all I got for this bump. What do you got? Anything else?
I'm good. I'm ready to hop right back into the swamp.
Let's get into the swamp. Back to the show.
All right, Brian. So we're back.
It's all nasty here.
Yeah, it is. It's really gross.
Sticky swamp.
And that's how the Bullywugs like it. So Bullywugs, believe it or not, do have certain religious stuff going on with them.
So they're praying to like a god?
They do pray to a god.
The god of the swamp.
His name.
Lord
Okay,
Toad.
so he's an chaotic evil. Okay, so number 1, Bullywugs fall within like the neutral evil or chaotic evil category.
Okay.
They're just little shitheads.
Generally
They're
evil.
Generally evil assholes.
Evil assholes.
Yeah, they're not like on demon level of evil, but they're just bad.
Like a good asshole would be like a paladin, like a too strict paladin.
Yeah, I suppose so.
What a dick.
So the deity they worship is chaotic evil. He's a chaotic evil frog deity called Ramenos.
Okay, I was
yeah.
like, ramen?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, ramen? Like,
No,
okay.
like-
But anyways, there's not too much to say about him. But what I do have to say, I do find
I
interesting.
bet he says it like
He-
ramenos.
He doesn't really answer their prayers, and I'm sure that's exactly how he says it, Brian. He's more interested in his long-term hibernation. He sleeps, and then when he's not sleeping, he engorges himself. And I guess he's evil, or so the book tells me. I have no examples of shit he does because he doesn't do anything.
Sounds like a true
But
neutral.
The main thing about this deity that I find interesting, and it makes Bullywugs more interesting by proxy, is apparently Ramenos used to be a mighty evil frog monster god, but has slowly degenerated over millennia and has kind of turned into this hibernating, bloated thing. He's barely holding on to existence. I think it's the prayers of the Bullywugs are the thing barely keeping him going. And the thing is,
Like all the sleep.
yeah, all the rest plus all the prayers. And the thing is, like Bullywugs apparently are descendants of these proto-amphibious humanoids that also degenerated as their god did.
That's kind of cool.
And there's supposedly ruins throughout all kinds of swamp areas and jungles of this ancient society that used to flourish and exist.
Oh, that's actually really
And
sweet.
like it kind of explains like this bizarre, almost degenerate mentality Bullywugs have. Like they like these nice, refined things, but they also can't take care of them because like they are mentally and physically degenerating
Yeah,
over
they're like
time.
wasting away as a society.
Exactly.
They're reverting back to frogs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're reverting back to frogs. It's kind of really sad if you look at it that way. But it's also kind of
Well, not if
interesting.
they're assholes.
Well,
Then
maybe
good
they've become this way. Well,
like-
I guess they always were evil because
Yeah,
their
because
god
they
was
worship
evil.
this asshole god.
It's still kind of sad in its own weird way.
It's sad to see Bullywugs dying
It would be
throughout
kinda,
the ages.
Yeah, it'd be kind of interesting. What if this god began to awoke and the Bullywugs began to become more powerful? Like that would be an interesting campaign arc. That'd be kind of cool, different. I think.
That is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, and like what if your adventurer's like, wander into one of these ruins and they accidentally activate something that begins to awaken the frog god.
Frog god.
Yeah, oh no.
It's really cool if you are in a swamp and you want a cool dungeon that isn't all swamp. I'm guessing this place is like a structure, like these old civilizations.
Yeah, why not? Like cities that eventually sank into the earth. You know?
Oh, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, so there it is. As a matter of fact, that's literally what I put you guys through in your guys' first adventure when you went to that swamp. I don't know if you remember, but that
there was like
city-
an old town. I
It
was like, what is this?
Yeah, and it had sunk into the swamp. Yeah.
Oh, I was like, why is this? What the fuck
yeah,
is
it
this?
was ancient. It was an ancient city. Yeah.
Oh man, my eyes have been opened
Yeah.
to the ruins
That's
to
good.
the ruins of past Bullywug
Yes,
society.
There you go. So fun fact, not only can
Hold on.
Okay.
How fun?
I think it's pretty fun.
Scale 1
I'm
to
excited
10.
to tell you about it, so I put it at 8.
Yes, I'm ready.
Well, okay. This is 2 fun facts. One fun fact's only like a 5. The other's an 8.
Okay,
We'll start with the 5. So not only can Bullywugs talk to toads and frogs, but they are known for taming giant toads and giant frogs to fight alongside them, and that's pretty cool, I think.
That actually is really cool.
But this is where it gets weird and more interesting. Is number 1, there are things called froghemoths. And
That's ridiculous.
yeah, and they live in swamps. And
Froghemoth?
yeah, well,
Oh, God.
So a froghemoth is a giant bipedal, elephant-sized frog tentacle monster with 3 eyes.
Oh God. Okay.
And bullywugs can kind of communicate with them, but sometimes they end up worshiping them like deities. And like,
Okay, I
it's
can see
actually
that.
really weird. One
Like
of
the
things-
Rancor.
Yeah, a lot like the Rancor. One of the things they try and do with these froghemoths is they try and lure it into like a cave and get it to like stay in there, and then they just feed it and worship it like a god. Oftentimes, it's very difficult for them to communicate to the froghemoth, which is a dumb monster, and a lot of bullywugs get eaten in this process.
Yeah, my dudes. If you're a 7 on the intelligence scale, what's this thing?
Yeah.
5?
Yeah,
4?
right. Yeah, 4 or 5. Yeah. So these froghemoths sometimes can get involved with the bullywugs and like.
You keep saying
like,
it.
Yeah, I think it's an
doesn't stop
amazing
being
word.
funny.
Froghemoth.
God.
Honestly, I didn't know about this monster until earlier this week when I was doing my research on bullywugs. But now that I know about it, I'm sure as fuck throwing this at my
Oh, hell
players
yeah,
at
I
some
wanna see
point.
that.
It's really, really cool and funny. We talked about how they're mortal enemies of lizard folk. I don't know if there's much else to say about that. Lizard folk
Is there
are fucking cooler.
a lizard hemoth that like
No.
fights the
Well,
frog
fuck,
hemoth?
maybe, I don't know. No, not generally speaking, not that I know of. But there's plenty of reptilian monsters that lizard folk would serve. Lizard folk are actually really big in serving black dragons. That's actually a thing in the lore.
For sure.
Another fun fact about bullywugs is we talked about their camouflage and their ability to talk to toads. One other like special ability they have is incredibly high jumps.
Okay.
Yeah, bullywugs would make an excellent basketball team theoretically.
what are we
because
talking about,
They can
like
jump
15 feet?
10 feet high and
that's
20
pretty
feet
good.
far.
That's really good.
Yeah, so they're Olympians of
Yeah,
jump.
that goes along with the stealth. That's definitely a surprise round in my book.
Yeah, definitely. So they can definitely trip up some new players and be like, oh shit, what's happening?
Yeah, from
Like
the
frogs
bushes.
flying all
Yeah.
over. Like, oh shit.
Exactly. You hear a subtle splash.
So-
You look to your right. There's a bullywug in your face.
Exactly.
He's stabbing you in the neck.
So beyond
Oh,
this,
God.
there's not too much other interesting lore bits about bullywugs that I can really think of off the top of my head. One thing I've always found interesting is that there are these extraplanar beings called slotty or slods. It really just depends on how you want to pronounce it. It's more often slotty.
What do you mean when you say extra planar?
Meaning
Like just a different plane?
they're from a different plane of existence.
Okay.
And they're these chaotic, evil, powerful frog monstrosities. And they're bipedal, they're humanoid-ish.
Cool.
And they there's a lot of lore about them. And I really look forward to the slotty episode because they're a bizarre D&D original that I really like.
So if this is if the bullywugs have a god, the Ramanos, then this is kind of like the slods are kind of like separate.
They're separate. And
Okay.
that's the thing is like they are completely 100% separate, but I find that so strange because they're so they look kind of similar. And I just think it's very fitting that since
Stop
they're
being frog
aligned-
racist, Will.
Well, because their alignments are so close, and like the fact that bullywugs have this weird kind of warped mentality, and slotty are really about like corruption and degeneration. Like it makes sense to almost marry their lores, and that's kind of what I do in my world. Is that bullywugs don't have this Ramanos guy; they actually worship slotty and are constantly trying to bring slotty into the world.
Oh, sick. Okay.
And I like to combine their lore. I think it makes both both their lore more interesting. But that's just me. And I just wanted to bring up Slotty because like Bullywugs could be Slotty related, and that's a cool thing that a DM should think about.
I was gonna say it seems like there's a lot of room for play. Like you could incorporate a lot of your own lore. Like you have this ancient abandoned like ruin.
Right.
It could be anything.
Yeah,
like these Bullywugs are descendants of the blah blah blah.
Yeah.
That
And the thing is, I
fucking
didn't,
wrecked your shop.
up until a week ago, I didn't really know about this like ancient god deity that degenerated and all this stuff and this ancient society. I was like, fuck, that is really cool. I want to explore that.
Yeah.
But before that, I was more like, well, I'm going to take the Slotty and the Bullywugs. I'm just going to like
Smash them together.
Yeah. And so that's that. I don't know if you had any other questions about Bullywugs.
Are they like, okay, so they're sneaking around, they're gonna attack you, or is this like, are they holding daggers, or they're going for spears?
I think
Is
they're
this
most commonly using like crude spears.
with like
stone
weapons.
They're
and
really
stuff?
crude, or of course stolen weaponry.
Like a sharpened stick.
Yeah, or a sharpened stick. Yeah, it's usually going to be spears. But think about it. Like, spears can be used for fishing too.
Right.
And they are fishers.
Do they got the tongue thing?
They don't, but like that's something that I would totally homebrew. And here's the thing, like again, in the 5e Monster Manual, there's only this one real basic Bullywug. But I remember in 4th edition, there was a whole plethora of them, and some of them had the tongue thing, and some of them were big and brutish and had, so, like, for instance, like, just take, like, normal frog biology, like, where, what you have those frogs where they give off, like, that psychedelic poison
Yeah.
kind to fucking do that, where one of them has, like, a poison touch.
Yeah, you
know
get
what I mean?
grappled
Like,
and it's over.
yeah,
You, like, go into a haze.
You're now, roll a Constitution save, and if you fail, you're poisoned or dazed or something.
Confused status
for a
effects in
minute.
D&D are really cool, and I don't
Yeah.
see them utilized very much.
No, not usually. I mean, they're there. I mean, it's all about that DC save.
They're definitely happening. They're
yeah.
definitely like especially fear. That's like a big one that gets used.
fear gets thrown around a lot.
Yeah. It makes sense.
it makes
I mean,
sense,
like
yeah.
magical fear.
Magical fear, yeah. Fear
like-
that you have no choice but to feel.
Yeah, you're probably afraid all the time. Like,
Well,
well,
if you're
not all the
smart,
time,
if you're
but
smart.
right? So, I mean,
But yeah, there's definitely ways to spice up Bullywugs, and I really hope that they like Volo's Guide was a really cool addition to the books of 5e because like not only did it add more monsters, which is great, but it really like delved into the lore. Like there's whole sections on beholders and on goblins and stuff, and really dives into
Definitely
like
cool
stuff about them. And like there should be more of that. I want that for like every mob. I want it for gnolls and bullywugs and lizard folk and all that stuff.
I miss gnolls.
Huh?
Gnolls are cool. I miss
Yeah,
them.
we'll do a Knowles episode. I thought Knowles was going to win this contest. It was close. It was between Knowles and Bullywugs for this episode, and I think kobolds and orcs just fucking no one gave a shit. So I was like, okay, fuck.
Well, definitely with the
it is.
orcs, like there's a lot of like orc exposure in like
There
all
is.
kinds of lore.
There is. It's much like elves. Like at this point in time, most people have a good idea for what an orc is.
Yeah, even if you're not playing D&D, you probably know what an orc is.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
have some
pretty
kind of
much.
idea of
Yeah.
like what that. Okay, that's a bad guy, right?
Yeah,
You know?
because if it's not D&D, then you know Lord of the Rings. If not that, then World of Warcraft. Like between those three things, like orcs have been covered by the general zeitgeist of pop culture.
Right.
But we've kind of stopped talking about Bullywugs. So if you don't got any more questions about our big toad buddies, I'm ready to call it a game.
Well, I did want to talk about one other thing, and it was
Yes, you did.
you've been saying that you want to have like I don't know if it's necessarily an evil campaign. It kind of sounds well, not a campaign, it's a one shot.
Yeah, we're good. Okay, so I have a concept, and no, it's not going to be an evil encounter, evil one shot, but I have this concept of like an all monster one shot where everyone plays a monster race.
Yeah, because it's not necessarily like we're gonna go like raid a town. It's more
No.
like there's an objective here.
Yeah,
that's
it's
outside of
basically
that.
my concept for the encounter is that this is super far away from civilization, and these monster races have kind of developed their own crude, primitive society.
Okay.
and learn to live in relative peace, but not really. They don't like each other and they war with each other all the time. But a greater threat has come to the veil of these monsters, and they're forced to work together.
Time to team up.
Time to team up. Time to form the
Monster Squad.
the Monster Squad, the Monster Avengers, and you chose of the 4 tribes that I give you guys options of. You wanted to do a Bullywug.
Yeah, because I think it would be really cool to talk like this the whole fucking
Jesus,
game.
that's what I'm in for. Okay, no, I think that's cool. That'll be fun. I like that. But what did you want to say about Bullywugs?
Well, I just wanted to kind of workshop it a little bit.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
like I was thinking, I got my voice.
Uh-huh.
I know a lot more about Bullywug culture now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's obviously going to be some swamp here.
Yeah,
So,
you're gonna
like-
be in. Oh my gosh, what did I name this swamp? Like Merc something. I don't remember. I'll
Merc
tell you.
City, where I'll be stabbing
I'll
fools.
I'll tell you later. I think so. The lore I have going on for this region was something along the lines of like each tribe has a particular tribe they hate and a particular tribe they're kind of more chummy with. And the Bullywugs and the orcs, I was gonna kind of put more chummy because the orcs are gonna like the amount of food that the Bullywugs can provide in trade with the fish and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And
they're good hunters.
Yeah, good hunters. And Bullywugs are going to respect that power the orcs have because they're big and buff, and also the weaponry they can provide to help them fight with the goblins, which they hate because they're vying for territory in the wetlands that meet the forest.
I can
kinda
see
deal.
the goblins and the orcs kind of feuding like that. Like,
Yeah.
like we're the big, like, I'm a hobgoblin, you're an orc. Like, let's fucking go at it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So and definitely the orcs and the goblins don't like each other, but the goblins get along with the kobolds because they're both tricksy, clevery, kind of similar mentality kind of.
So
deal.
are you throwing me a stat block that you had in mind, or am I rolling?
I am going to have to homebrew that, aren't I? Because the other three tribes have a player race stat block.
Right.
So I think we'll definitely give a +2 to dexterity.
Okay, that makes sense. I got that jump.
Got that jump and that camouflage and that stealth.
Cool.
And I think either a +1 to Constitution or a +1 to it's gonna be Constitution. It just makes the most sense because
Just like a
they're not
hardy
generally
swamp
wise.
creature.
Yeah, hardy swamp creature. That's pretty much it. And you'll get that toad speaking ability.
Oh, yeah, that's
you'll
like
get a
Thieves'
jump
Cant.
ability. You'll get the amphibious feature where you can breathe underwater, basically.
Oh, sick.
And maybe one other thing that might be enough as it is, but we'll see.
Cool.
But yeah, I'll homebrew that later.
Are we thinking like a D8 hit die or like a D6 or like what's
well,
up?
that part depends on your class.
Okay,
not
yeah.
on the race.
Oh, so we are gonna do. So I'm gonna be a Bullywug with like a class. So
yeah,
maybe
and
I
we'll
could
do
be.
some class limitations because like certain things don't make sense, you know.
Well, I was thinking like rogue, obviously,
Yeah,
or
that works. Yeah,
or ranger.
absolutely. Yeah, definitely discuss it with the other party members because one's a goblin, one's a kobold, and they're also stealthy. They might be looking at rogues. So.
Yeah, I don't want to be. I don't want to have two rogues in the party.
But
That's
a
not
bullywug
my
rogue,
style.
that sounds fucking cool.
Yeah, it does.
I like the idea of like a bullywug like druid.
Yeah, that's
one,
not bad.
Not
That's
one
not
that
bad,
focuses
actually.
on transforming, but one that like curls spells, and you could do like swamp themed spells.
Yeah,
and
like
stuff.
like a mud attack and like water
Exactly.
and like maybe like a I don't know, throw like a big ass tree branch at somebody.
Yeah, there you go. Something like that.
Well, that's cool.
But yeah, so bullywugs, yeah.
Yeah, that's all. I just wanted to workshop it a little bit now that I have a better idea.
Yeah, we'll talk about it more later.
Yeah, I was like, all I had to go on before was really like, yeah, I'm a little piece of shit frog person.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stab somebody.
Exactly.
I hope I get to be like, I want to go with. I've always wanted to play the assassin rogue, so I really wanted to go with that route.
I mean, yeah, fucking yeah, do you, man?
I don't know what level we're gonna be at, but like,
I think I was
we'll
gonna plop you guys at level 4.
nice.
But
So
we'll see.
that's enough.
Yeah,
I get
that's
my
enough.
assassin at level 3, I think.
Yep, that'll be it.
Sick.
All
Oh,
right,
yeah.
with that, I think we're done here. We're gonna call it a game. Thank
Let's
you
call
guys
it a
for
game.
listening. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.